Welcome back to Numistrade. Today features the portrait of Thomas Jefferson, one of the founding fathers and the third president of the United States. On the reverse side appears the iconic building known as Monticello, Jefferson's historic home in Virginia. Since 1938, this design has represented the American 5-cent coin and has been produced by the famous United States Mint, but the year 1964 holds a special place in coin collecting history. It was a time when the United States was facing a serious coin shortage. People were saving coins because the value of silver was rising, and many coins were disappearing from circulation. To fix the problem, the government increased coin production dramatically. Billions of coins were struck during this period, including the Jefferson nickel. Even though millions of 1964 nickels were produced, certain versions with specific mint marks and exceptional quality have become highly desirable among collectors. That is where the excitement begins. The design and symbolism. The Jefferson nickel is more than just a coin used to buy something small. It represents American heritage and leadership. The front of the coin shows a strong portrait of Thomas Jefferson, carefully sculpted to capture his thoughtful expression. His role in drafting the Declaration of Independence and shaping the early United States made him one of the most respected figures in American history. On the reverse side, the detailed image of Monticello reminds collectors of Jefferson's architectural brilliance and intellectual curiosity. The building stands proudly on the coin, symbolizing knowledge, culture, and the foundations of democracy. For decades, this design remained almost unchanged, which makes early examples particularly appealing to collectors who love historical consistency. Why the 1964 nickel is special. At first, it might seem strange that a coin produced in such large numbers could still be valuable. But coin collecting is not only about how many coins were made. Condition, rarity of certain varieties, and historical significance all play a huge role. The 1964 Jefferson nickel became notable for several reasons. First, it was produced during the final years before major changes happened to American coinage. Around this time, the government started reconsidering metals and production methods due to rising costs. Second, collectors discovered that some 1964 nickels were struck with extraordinary detail and nearly flawless surfaces. These coins are graded extremely high by professional grading services. When a coin survives decades in nearly perfect condition, it becomes rare because most coins experience wear from circulation. Third, mint marks add another layer of fascination. Mint marks tell collectors where a coin was produced. In the United States, different mint facilities produce coins, and sometimes certain mints produce fewer high-quality coins than others. This makes some mint mark versions more desirable. Understanding mint marks. Mint marks are tiny letters stamped on coins that indicate where they were made. During the 1960s, several mint facilities were actively producing coins to keep up with demand for Jefferson nickels. These marks usually appear on the reverse side of the coin near the building of Monticello. Collectors carefully inspect this area to determine where the coin originated. A small difference like this might seem unimportant to most people, but in the world of coin collecting it can completely change the value of a coin. Some mint marks combined with perfect condition can transform a simple 5-cent piece into a collector's treasure. The importance of condition. Condition is one of the biggest factors affecting a coin's value. Collectors use a grading scale to measure how well a coin has been preserved. Coins that show heavy scratches, fading details, or worn surfaces are worth far less than coins that look almost brand new. A coin that appears as if it just left the mint is described as being in mint state. These coins often display sharp details, smooth surfaces, and beautiful original luster. For the 1964 Jefferson nickel, the highest grade examples are extremely difficult to find. Many coins were used in everyday transactions, meaning they quickly lost their original shine and detail. Only a small number survived untouched. Those rare survivors are the ones collectors compete to own. Hidden treasures in everyday places. One of the most exciting aspects of coin collecting is the possibility that valuable coins could still be hiding in ordinary places. People have discovered collectible coins in old jars, inherited collections, piggy banks, and even in spare change from stores. Imagine finding a nickel that once passed through countless hands decades ago, only to realize it might be worth thousands today. Stories like this inspire many collectors to examine every coin they encounter. Some collectors search through rolls of coins from banks, hoping to discover rare dates and mint marks. Others visit flea markets, estate sales, or antique shops in hopes of uncovering overlooked treasures. The thrill of the hunt is a big part of what makes coin collecting so addictive. What makes certain coins extremely valuable? When collectors evaluate a coin, they consider several important factors. These include rarity, demand, condition, historical significance, and unique characteristics. A coin that combines several of these qualities becomes especially valuable. For example, if a coin is rare, well preserved, and tied to an interesting historical moment, collectors may be willing to pay extraordinary amounts for it. The 1964 Jefferson nickel fits into this category when found in exceptional condition with the right mint mark and grading. These factors together create a perfect storm of collector interest, grading, and professional evaluation. Because valuable coins can attract strong competition among collectors, professional grading services play an important role. These organizations carefully examine coins under magnification and assign a grade based on their condition. Once graded, the coin is sealed in a protective holder that verifies its authenticity and condition. This process helps buyers and sellers trust the value of the coin during auctions or private sales. High-grade coins often attract attention from serious collectors and investors who are willing to pay large amounts for the best examples. Why collectors love Jefferson nickels. Jefferson nickels have a special place in the coin collecting world. Unlike some rare coins that are nearly impossible for beginners to obtain, Jefferson nickels can still be found with patience and dedication. Many collectors start their journey by assembling a complete set of Jefferson nickels from different years and mint marks. As their knowledge grows, they begin searching for high-grade coins or rare varieties. This journey transforms a simple hobby into a lifelong passion. The excitement grows even more when collectors realize that a small 5-cent coin could potentially be worth thousands of dollars. A piece of history in your hand. Coins are unique historical artifacts. Unlike museum objects locked behind glass, coins were designed to circulate among the public. They pass through stores, restaurants, gas stations, and countless everyday transactions. Each coin carries a silent story about the era in which it was produced. The 1964 Jefferson nickel reflects a time when the United States was facing economic changes, technological advancements, and social transformation. Holding such a coin connects collectors directly with that moment in history. Final thoughts. The world of coin collecting is full of surprises. A small coin that once seemed ordinary can turn into an exciting discovery when collectors recognize its rarity and condition. The 1964 mint-marked Jefferson 5-cent nickel is a perfect example of how history, craftsmanship, and rarity combine to create a coin that collectors admire. Whether you are a beginner searching through spare change or an experienced collector studying mint marks and grading scales, every coin offers the possibility of discovery. We're diving into one of those fascinating coins that collectors love to talk about, the 1978 mint-marked Jefferson 5-cent nickel. At first glance, it may look like just another coin from everyday circulation. But behind its design, its production, and the rare examples that collectors search for, there's a story that makes this little nickel far more interesting than most people realize. So if you enjoy discovering hidden treasures, learning about rare coins, and understanding why collectors get excited about small pieces of history, stay with me as we explore the world of the 1978 Jefferson nickel. History behind the Jefferson nickel. The Jefferson nickel is one of the longest-running coin designs in American history. Introduced in 1938, this coin replaced the Buffalo nickel and brought a more modern design to the 5-cent denomination. The coin honors Thomas Jefferson, one of the most important figures in United States history and the third president of the country. On the front of the coin, known as the obverse, you'll see Jefferson's portrait facing left. The design represents knowledge, leadership, and the ideals that helped shape the nation. On the reverse side of the coin, you'll find Monticello, Jefferson's historic home in Virginia. The detailed image of this building reflects architecture, history, and national pride. For decades, the Jefferson nickel has remained part of daily American life. Millions of these coins have been produced every year, making them one of the most familiar coins in circulation. Yet within those millions of coins, certain years and mint marks attract the attention of collectors, and the 1978 version is one of them. The world in 1978. To understand the 1978 nickel better, it helps to step back into that year. The late 1970s were a time of change, creativity, and economic shifts in the United States. Music, technology, and culture were evolving quickly. Personal electronics were beginning to grow in popularity, and the world was slowly moving toward the digital future we know today. At the same time, coins were still an essential part of daily transactions. Every grocery store purchase, bus ride, or vending machine depended on coins like the nickel. Because of this, the United States Mint produced large numbers of coins each year to keep the economy moving. But even though millions of coins were made, not all of them are the same in the eyes of collectors. Understanding the mint mark. One of the most important details collectors look for is the mint mark. A mint mark tells you where the coin was produced. In the United States, coins are typically produced at several mint facilities. Each location leaves a small identifying letter on the coin. For Jefferson nickels, that tiny letter can make a big difference when collectors evaluate rarity and desirability. The 1978 Jefferson nickel was produced during a time when quality, production numbers, and coin preservation all played a role in determining collector interest. While most coins from this year circulated heavily, some remained in exceptional condition. Those pristine examples are what collectors dream of finding. Design details of the 1978 nickel. Let's take a closer look at the design of this coin. On the front, the portrait of Thomas Jefferson appears with strong detail. His hair, facial features, and the smooth contour of the design reflect the classic engraving style used by the United States Mint. Above the portrait appears the word Liberty along with the year 1978. These elements frame the historical significance of the coin. On the back of the coin sits Monticello, Jefferson's famous estate. The building's columns and structure are carefully engraved, giving the reverse side a sense of balance and elegance. Below Monticello appears the words 5 cents, clearly identifying the coin's denomination. Even though this design has been used for decades, collectors still admire the craftsmanship of well-preserved examples. Why collectors search for certain nickels? You might wonder why collectors care so much about a coin that millions of people once used every day. The answer lies in condition, rarity, and unique characteristics. Coins that survive in nearly perfect condition are much harder to find than heavily circulated ones. Over time, scratches, wear, and damage reduce the quality of most coins, but occasionally, a coin remains untouched, stored in rolls, collections, or coin albums for decades. When collectors find one of these high-quality examples, it can be far more valuable than its face value of 5 cents. Another factor collectors consider is mint quality. Some coins leave the mint with stronger details and sharper strikes than others. These subtle differences can turn an ordinary coin into something much more desirable. Hidden stories in everyday coins. One of the most exciting things about coin collecting is the idea that valuable pieces might still exist in everyday places. Many collectors began their journey by searching through pocket change, coin jars, or old family collections. It's possible that somewhere in a drawer or piggy bank, an interesting coin is waiting to be discovered. The 1978 Jefferson nickel is a perfect example of how something small and common can hold hidden fascination. Even if most examples are worth only their face value, the thrill of the hunt keeps collectors searching. The importance of condition. Condition is one of the biggest factors that determines a coin's value. Collectors use grading systems to evaluate how well a coin has been preserved. Coins that show no signs of wear, strong detail, and bright surfaces are considered far more desirable. These high-grade coins are often described as mint-state examples. A mint-state coin looks almost exactly the way it did the day it left the mint. The details remain sharp, and the surfaces still reflect light beautifully. Finding a coin like this decades after it was produced is extremely rare. Because of that rarity, collectors are willing to pay much more for coins that meet these strict standards. Why the 1978 nickel still matters. Even though the 1978 Jefferson nickel is not one of the oldest coins in American history, it still represents an important era. Coins from the late 20th century connect collectors with a time when physical currency played a central role in everyday life. Every coin tells a story about the year it was made, the economy of that period, and the people who used it. Holding a 1978 nickel is like holding a small piece of that history. It reminds us that even ordinary objects can become meaningful over time. The thrill of coin collecting. Coin collecting is more than just gathering pieces of metal. It's a journey through history, art, and discovery. Collectors study designs, research minting processes, and search for rare examples that others might overlook. Each coin adds another chapter to the story of a collection. Some collectors focus on specific years, others search for certain mint marks, and some simply enjoy the beauty and craftsmanship of coins. No matter the approach, the excitement of finding a special coin never fades, and sometimes, that excitement begins with something as simple as a 5-cent piece. Final thoughts. The 1978 mint mark Jefferson 5-cent nickel may look ordinary at first glance, but like many coins, it carries history, artistry, and collector interest. From its connection to Thomas Jefferson to its detailed image of Monticello, the coin reflects the heritage of the United States Mint and the long tradition of American coinage. Most examples circulated through countless hands, quietly serving their purpose in everyday transactions. We're exploring one fascinating piece of American coinage, the 2005 mint mark Jefferson 5-cent nickel, a coin that many collectors are quietly searching for. The story begins with the famous American coin known as the Jefferson nickel. This coin has been part of everyday life in the United States for generations. Since the late 1930s, millions upon millions have been produced, passing through countless hands in stores, banks, and markets across the country. The center of this coin's design is one of America's most influential leaders, Thomas Jefferson. Jefferson was not only the third president of the United States, but also the primary author of the Declaration of Independence and a passionate advocate for liberty, education, and democracy. His legacy became permanently connected with American coinage when his portrait was chosen to appear on the 5-cent piece. For decades, the Jefferson nickel featured the same classic portrait and reverse design. On the back of the coin sits Jefferson's historic home, Monticello, a beautiful plantation house in Virginia that symbolizes both Jefferson's life and early American architecture. But the early 2000s brought a dramatic and exciting change. In 2004 and 2005, the United States Mint launched a special redesign program for the Jefferson nickel. This program celebrated the historic expedition of Lewis and Clark and the exploration of the American West. During this period, several new designs were introduced, making these coins especially interesting for collectors. The 2005 nickels became particularly memorable because they introduced a completely new portrait of Thomas Jefferson on the front of the coin. Instead of the traditional left-facing profile used for decades, the new design presented Jefferson in a bold forward-facing view. It was the first time in more than 60 years that the portrait had changed so dramatically. This fresh design instantly caught the attention of collectors. It looked modern, detailed, and striking compared with earlier versions. The coin seemed almost alive, with Jefferson's expression appearing more realistic and direct. But there was another detail that makes certain examples even more intriguing. The mint mark. Coins produced in the United States are often marked with a small letter showing where they were made. For the 2005 Jefferson nickel, one of the key mint marks is the letter D, which represents the Denver Mint. This facility, located in Colorado, has produced billions of coins for circulation since the early 20th century. The 2005 D Jefferson nickel was struck in large numbers for everyday use, meaning millions of Americans may have handled one without even realizing it. Most examples spent years moving through cash registers, vending machines, and bankrolls. However, coin collectors know something important: not all coins are equal. Condition plays a massive role in the value of any collectible coin. A nickel that has been heavily circulated may appear worn, with faded details and scratches. But a coin preserved in near-perfect condition can look almost as if it just left the mint. Collectors often refer to this level of quality as mint state condition. In this state, the coin shows sharp details, brilliant luster, and minimal marks. It represents the coin exactly as it appeared when first struck. For the 2005 D Jefferson nickel, examples in ordinary circulated condition are usually worth only their face value. Many people spend them every day without thinking twice, but when a coin survives in exceptionally pristine condition, the story changes dramatically. Professional coin grading services carefully examine such coins under magnification. They analyze the strike quality, surface preservation, luster, and overall appearance. The highest grades are extremely difficult to achieve, because even tiny marks from contact with other coins can reduce a coin's grade. That's why collectors search tirelessly through rolls of nickels and old coin collections. They hope to discover a perfectly preserved example hiding in plain sight. Another reason this coin fascinates collectors is its place in the historical timeline of American coinage. The 2005 redesign represents a short transitional period between the classic Jefferson portrait and the modern design that followed later. In other words, it marks a moment of change, a bridge between past and present. Coins from transitional years often attract attention because they capture a specific moment in history. They show how designs evolved, how artistic styles changed, and how the mint experimented with new ideas. For many collectors, owning a coin from such a period is like owning a small piece of American history. Imagine a collector discovering a pristine 2005 D Jefferson nickel in a roll from the bank. At first glance, it might look ordinary. But under closer inspection, the details might be razor sharp, the surface is brilliant, and the luster glowing. That discovery can turn a common coin into something extraordinary. Another factor that drives collector excitement is the challenge. Rare high-grade coins are not easy to find. Many have already been picked out by collectors, leaving fewer perfect examples remaining in circulation. This scarcity creates a sense of treasure hunting. People across the world search through pocket change, coin jars, and bankrolls hoping to uncover a hidden gem. Sometimes those searches reveal coins worth far more than anyone expected. The 2005 D Jefferson nickel reminds collectors that value is not always obvious. A small detail, a mint mark, a design change, or exceptional preservation can transform an ordinary coin into something special. It also highlights how coin collecting connects people with history. Every coin tells a story about the era in which it was made. The designs reflect cultural values, artistic trends, and national pride. In this case, The coin honors Thomas Jefferson and the spirit of exploration that helped shape the United States. From the engraving of Jefferson's face to the historical symbolism behind the series, the coin captures a piece of America's journey, and that's what makes numismatics so fascinating. It isn't just about money, it's about history, art, and discovery. Collectors often say that the thrill of the hunt is just as exciting as the value of the coin itself. Searching through thousands of coins, learning about mint marks, and understanding grading can feel like solving a puzzle. Sometimes that puzzle leads to an incredible reward. A perfectly preserved example of the 2005 D. Jefferson 5-cent nickel, graded at the highest level and admired for its exceptional quality, has reached an astonishing collector value.